Insurance fraud, dealer lies, and a buried prototype. This wasn't just engineering.
It was a Shakespearean tragedy of corporate betrayal, 425 horsepower, 11,000 RPM, and a corporate silence order buried in GM's secret vaults.
This is the engine didn't want you to have.
The Chevrolet 396, a street-legal racing engine that dominated drag strips, terrified insurance companies and ignited a civil war inside General Motors.
Why was it really banned?
Too powerful, too successful, and too dangerous.
Tonight, we expose the truth and the blood feud that killed America's baddest big block. It was the meanest, most powerful big block in the Chevrolet arsenal. But just years into its production, it was pulled back into the shadows. It is the Chevy 396, an engine built for speed and domination, but vanished so soon. To this day, people still ask, why did Chevrolet quietly phase out one of its most powerful and legendary engines? Why Chevrolet turned its back on one of its fiercest creations? GM's 400 cubic inch van was strangling Chevrolet.
While Ford and Chrysler unleashed monsters, Chevy was trapped with the small block 327, hidden away in a locked Detroit Skunk Works. Engineers Bill Polkinghorne, chief designer, and Dick Knaff, Chevrolet R&D lead.
These engineering geniuses were plotting a revolution.
Their new weapon, the L78.
Born at Chevrolet's Tonawanda engine plant, New York, the L78 wasn't just engineered, it was weaponized. Rectangular port heads flowed 30% more air than the Corvettes. Forged TRW pistons slammed at 11:1 compression. A solid lifter cam .519 in lift demanded constant tuning. Mechanics quickly nicknamed it Big Rat. Forums like Chevy Talk. Engineer complained.
You couldn't idle it at a stoplight. Oh God, when you pushed it above 4,000 RPM, it sang. Dick Harold, drag racer, said it felt like it had punched you in the chest when the secondaries opened.
Chevy lied about performance. Why? Insurance rates.
A 69 L78 cost a 19-year-old $1,200 a year to insure $10,000 today.
But on track, it dominated.
Bill Jenkins's 1966 Nova stunned NH Supertalk fans, running 11.90 seconds at 115 miles per hour, beating Hemi with 50 fewer cubes. Chevy's small block 327 and the aging 409 were solid performers, but they couldn't keep up in this new age of big block brawlers. Something had to change and fast. By 1964, the pressure became too much. GM executives finally lifted the cap. And with that green light, Chevrolet engineers went to work. What they created next wasn't just an engine. It was a statement. Enter the Mark V big block engine family. A bold leap forward in Chevrolet's engine design. Developed by top engineers like Bill Polkinghorne and Dick Knaff. This next generation V8 was built to dominate. In 1965, the 396 made its debut. Tailored to pack serious muscle into Chevy's midsize cars. There were a few versions. The L35 with 325 horsepower and the L34 with 360. Both were impressive, but Chevy wasn't just looking to compete. They wanted to crush the competition, especially Chrysler's fearsome Hemi. The 396 wasn't just a high-performance option. It was a street-legal racing engine. On paper, Chevrolet rated it at 425 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 415 pounds of torque. But the real numbers, rumors flew among racers and insiders alike. Dyno tests suggested it could push out as much as 500 horsepower in perfect tuned conditions. Why the low ball figure? Simple. Chevrolet wanted to avoid drawing too much attention from insurance companies and corporate executives who were nervous about putting race engines in street cars. So, they played it cool with the official numbers while letting the car's performance do all the talking on the track. And talk it did. The 396 didn't just compete with the Hemi. It became a legend in its own right. The 396 engine was also the product of a secretive high-stakes mission inside Chevrolet. Developed in an off-the-book Skunk Works project, the engine was born from a simple but ambitious goal. Build a street-legal powerhouse that could dominate NH Supertalk racing.
To get there, they drew inspiration from the success of the 409, an earlier Chevy performance icon. But this time, they pushed the engineering further. The 396 was equipped with a beefed-up engine block for durability, improved cooling channels to handle extreme heat, and newly designed cylinder heads with massive valves and rectangular ports that allowed better airflow at high RPMs. It was a smarter, stronger evolution of everything Chevy had learned in the performance game. One of the 396 defining features was its solid lifter camshaft. Solid lifters needed regular tweaking, but that was the price of precision. This cam was designed to scream at high RPMs, making the engine more track-ready than commuter-friendly. It demanded attention, and not just from onlookers, but from the person behind the wheel. This wasn't a plug-and-play engine for your average Sunday cruiser. The 396 was built for gearheads chasing 4-mile glory. It craved high-octane fuel, constant tuning, and a driver who understood what it meant to live on the edge of mechanical limits. Still, the L78 earned its reputation.